Hello and welcome back to Underdog Investing. So today I'd like to talk about Tesla and Bitcoin, starting with the CNBC article which tells us what actually happened, and then I'd like to talk about some ARK Invest research which talks about the potential of Bitcoin in the future, and then finally finishing off with some tweets by some of the big players in Bitcoin. Now before I jump into the video, I'll be grateful if you can smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for future updates. So let's jump straight into it. What actually happened? So Tesla buys $1.5 billion in Bitcoin and plans to accept it as payment. Now that almost sounds too good to be true, so let's just confirm that on this SEC filing. So here we can see we invested an aggregate $1.5 billion in Bitcoin under this policy and may acquire and hold digital assets from time to time or long term. Moreover, we expect to begin accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment for our products in the near future. So that's confirmed. Now what's more exciting is if we scroll down on this article, what they say here is that the company had more than $19 billion in cash and cash equivalents on hand at the end of 2020. So what does that mean? If they've got $19 billion in cash and cash equivalents and they allocated $1.5 billion into Bitcoin, that means they allocated 7.9% of their cash into Bitcoin. And why is this 7.9% so important? To find out, we have to look at ARK Invest research. So ARK Invest published a Big Ideas 2021 article in which they detailed 15 of the investments that we shouldn't miss out in the near future. One of them was Bitcoin. More specifically, if we look at page 50, which we're on right now, so institutional investment could have a substantial impact on Bitcoin's price. And so what they've written here is institutional allocations between 2.5% and 6.5% could impact Bitcoin's price by $200,000 to $500,000. And let's have a look at the graph. So if we have a look here, what they said is if all institutions add 1% of their cash into Bitcoin, that would increase the price of Bitcoin by $100,000. That's very significant if you consider that we're at around $40,000 at the moment. Now, if we see institutional investors put 2.55% allocation into Bitcoin, that will increase the price of Bitcoin by around $200,000. Now, if institutions add or allocate 6.55% of their cash into Bitcoin, that will increase the price of Bitcoin by $500,000. And we've literally just heard news that the richest man on earth and his company, which is one of the most valuable companies on earth, has just put 7.9% of their allocation into Bitcoin. So we can only imagine what the price could potentially be in the future based on this ARK Invest research. Okay, so moving on to the tweets that we've seen today in response to this great news, starting with Michael Saylor. So Michael Saylor is the co-founder of MicroStrategy. He has a net worth of $500 million and all cash reserves in MicroStrategy have been invested into Bitcoin. And what's even more exciting is that they have about $3 billion worth of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So he's just tweeted today, "Congratulations and thank you to Elon Musk and Tesla on adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet. The entire world will benefit from this leadership, and I'm sure a lot of people will follow this." Moving on to Tyler Winklevoss. So Tyler Winklevoss is a billionaire and he's the founder of Winklevoss Capital Management and Gemini cryptocurrency exchange. So he's just had a simple tweet: "Tom Brady was the MVP last night, but Elon Musk is the MVP today." Nice and simple. Now Anthony Pompliano. So he is the founder of Morgan Creek Digital, which is a hedge fund specialized in blockchain technology and digital assets. So he's got some really interesting insights here. So Bitcoiners have successfully memed and shitposted their way into convincing the world's richest man to join them. Never bet against the internet. Assuming that Tesla and Elon Musk bought Bitcoin over the last couple of weeks, we can use an estimated purchase price of $35,000. If that is the case, they would already be up about 25% on the $1.5 billion purchase. It is smart business for the corporations to own Bitcoin. And then he tweets, "I wonder how much Bitcoin was purchased by SpaceX." And the reason why he tweets this is because Tesla is a publicly traded company, therefore they have to announce how much Bitcoin they purchase and also the fact that they purchase Bitcoin. Whereas SpaceX is still a privately traded company, so, well, it's still a private company, sorry. So they do not need to disclose if they've or where they allocate their capital. So there's a potential that they did buy Bitcoin as well. And then he goes on to mention that Tesla's mission is to create an entire sustainable energy ecosystem. They just bought $1.5 billion of Bitcoin. You can now retire your misinformed argument that Bitcoin is bad for the environment. Because a lot of people say that Bitcoin is bad for the environment, and the fact that it uses so much energy to mine the Bitcoin. He's just basically saying that literally the company which is trying to drive sustainable energy has just invested in Bitcoin. So it's very unlikely that Bitcoin can be that bad for the environment. Just to finish off, look at this beautiful price, $44,000 today. And you can look, this was when Bitcoin, Tesla and Bitcoin was announced basically. And you can see that the price increased significantly. $44,000 might look expensive now, but if we go back to ARK Invest research and see that even just a 6.55% allocation into Bitcoin will increase the price by 500,000, and Tesla today have just allocated 7.9%, we can see that Bitcoin has a long way to go. So that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, I'd be grateful if you could smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section down below. Where do you think Bitcoin's price is going? What do you think is going to happen? Are institutional investors going to throw their money into Bitcoin now? And finally, if you found it useful, please do share this video. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.